Hitting record. All right, let's start lying down today. Before I start, some of you came in a little later. No class Tuesday, February 23rd. Okay, so any comfortable position. And I invite you to lower or close your eyes if you haven't already. And we're going to start a little bit different kind of check-in today. So let's start by scanning the body. And notice what's happening in your body. So normally we notice physically, but today let's notice the breath. Notice if there are any feelings or emotions that you feel in your body. Notice what's going on in your gut, in your chest, your back, your jaw, and behind your eyes. So remember, no judgment. Just notice what's happening there. So our class today is based on connecting to your core self. So quote to begin, connect to your core and you'll find strength. Act from your core and you'll move mountains. So this check-in that you're doing with your body is a way to access your primary emotions, to help you access your core self. So what is your core self? This is your true self, your most authentic self. It is your inner wisdom, inner nurturer, wise self, your feeling self, inner voice, and your values. It is not your thoughts. When you are stuck in a web of negative thoughts, your core self is the part of you that notices these thoughts. We tend to protect our core self and basically silence or stifle it. We protect it with distraction, avoidance, and surface communication. So during our practice today, I invite you to listen to your inner voice. Sometimes we hear our inner voice first, and that is our inner truth. It may speak first, but we tend to dismiss it. The key is to listen without rejecting it or talking ourselves out of it. Okay, so finding some small movements here in your fingers and toes. Rolling around wrists and ankles. Perhaps you take a big stretch here on the earth. All right, so let's take a moment to hug both knees in towards the chest. Maybe you find circles in your knees or you rock from side to side. Okay, and we're going to come into a wind relief pose. We're going to place the left foot on the earth with a bent knee, activating the right foot, so slightly curling back your toes and gently pulling the knee in towards you. So if it's comfortable for you, perhaps the left leg comes along on the earth. Relaxing your shoulders, softening your jaw, and notice your breath. So this wind relief pose is a pose that we're going to come back to in our practice, but it will be standing. All right, and from here, if you don't have any neck issues, perhaps tucking your chin in towards your chest. Head comes up off the earth, maybe shoulders as well. Gently releasing the right foot to the floor and hugging the left knee in, activating the left foot. And again, option to allow the right leg to come across the earth. Notice sensations that you feel in your hips. And then if you wish, once again on this side, tucking the chin in towards the chest. Gently releasing down towards the earth. Let's hug both knees in one more time. Okay, and then coming to seated. So your choice, you can roll over to one side and then come to seated, or perhaps hands become, let me try this again. Hands come behind your thighs, finding a few maybe rocking motions to come up to seated. All right, once you make your way to seated, we're going to explore a pose we came into last week. So hands come behind you, palms or fingers face away. I'm having a hard time remembering names of body parts today. Shoulders roll back and down your spine, feet are on the earth. Okay, so maybe you walk your hands back a little bit, open your heart. You could drop your neck back if you don't feel any discomfort in your neck. If you wish to feel a little bit more in the shoulders, perhaps you walk the feet forward and slide the hips forward. So be gentle with yourself here. We don't want to push too far or it's going to hurt tomorrow. All right, so one more round of breath. If you moved your hips forward, moving them back. Okay, and then we're going to come to seated and into a tabletop pose. So in our tabletop, wrists are underneath the shoulders, knees are. Let's just find some organic movement here. So perhaps it's cat-cow. Round your spine, tuck your chin, tuck your tailbone. And then moving in the opposite direction. Maybe you find C shapes in your body. Perhaps you move in and out of child's pose. listen to what's going on in your body and honor what you need today. All right, gently making your way back to center. All right, so while we're here in our tabletop, we want to make sure that we grip our fingers into the mat and find a little bit of a cup in the hand so the wrist isn't going flat on the earth or the palm of the hand isn't flat. So like I've mentioned before, it's kind of like a little ladybug under there. Let's not squish the ladybug. Okay, we're going to round the spine into a cat pose. So slightly tucking the tailbone, really arching your back up towards the sky. So it's like a Halloween cat here. We're going to hold this pose for a few rounds of breath. So you might feel a little bit of strengthening or shaking in your arms. Draw the belly button in. All right, let's move in the opposite direction. Tailbone comes up towards the sky, shoulders roll back and down your spine. All right, one more time into our cat pose, rounding the spine, pushing your body away from the earth. And then back into cow. All right, come back to your flat back tabletop. And we're going to bring the right foot up towards the sky. Knee is bent. Allow your belly button to drop down towards the earth. Shoulders roll back and down the spine. Send the foot up towards the sky. Tiger pose. And then round your spine. Knee comes towards your nose. Push away from the earth and hold. Come back into your tiger pose. When you push the foot up towards the earth, see if you can activate that right glute. So you're going to use it to kind of push the foot up and then round and hold. One more time, back into that tiger pose. Round the spine, knee to nose. Coming into your tabletop. All right, and let's come to the other side. Left foot up towards the sky. Push it up. And then round your spine, knee to nose. We're going to hold here. No rush. Back into your tiger pose. Round the spine, knee towards the nose. And hold. Draw the belly button in. Last one, tiger pose. Round the spine, knee to nose. Into tabletop. And back into child's pose. Big toes together, maybe knees come apart. Perhaps arms come out long on the mat. Forehead to the earth. Maybe you need to stack fists underneath your forehead. Notice your breath. Taking deep inhales and long, slow exhales. So one way to connect to your core self is by asking, who am I? Who am I underneath my thoughts? Who am I underneath this physical body? Who am I underneath my reactions? One more round of breath. And then gently making your way back into your tabletop pose. All right, a low lunge here. Right foot comes forward between the hands. We want to make sure that the right knee is over the ankle and in line with the second or third toe. So allowing the crown of your head to reach towards the front of your mat, draw the belly button in and see if you can try not to collapse on that right leg. So holding yourself up here using your core, using your fingertips, or if you have blocks and you need to bring the earth up closer to you, using those. And then sink and settle into that left thigh. So perhaps you stay here, or maybe you curl the back toes under. Squeeze your inner thighs, lift the back leg. Find length in your spine. Keeping the right knee over the right ankle. Okay, we're going to come back down to the earth into a tabletop pose and find that on the other side, left foot comes forward, knee over ankle. So as right leg can come back a little bit if you need a little more space to feel a stretch along the front of the right thigh. Again, reaching the crown of your head forward. Often we come into this pose and we kind of just like sink down into it, but a little more active today. Sinking down into that right thigh, that right side. And if you wish, curling the back toes under, squeeze the inner thighs, lift the back leg. You can always try and challenge yourself here by maybe reaching your hands towards the front of your mat. Trying not to collapse in on that left leg. Gently bringing your hands to the earth. If they're up, knee comes down. Let's come into tabletop. All right, so again, wrists underneath the shoulders. And we're going to come into a variation of a tiger pose. So you're going to go just as far as you feel comfortable. We'll start with the right leg up towards the sky, activating the right foot. Making sure your right wrist is underneath your right shoulder. You're going to find a bit of a twist. So left hand comes up and back behind you. See if you can catch that back foot. Maybe you don't. Totally okay. Maybe you're just reaching for it, or perhaps you keep both hands on the earth. Sometimes we can't reach just because of arm length or leg length. Great. One more round of breath. And then coming back to tabletop. Okay, other side. Left shoulder over left wrist, grip the fingers. Left foot comes up towards the sky. Bring your arm up and around behind you. See if you can reach for that back foot or ankle. Send the foot up towards the sky. Notice the difference from one side to the other. This side might be easier or harder. Find your balance. Come back to tabletop and into child's pose. Okay, 2 more rounds of breath here. And then making your way back into your tabletop pose. All right, so we're going to come back to that lunge, right foot forward. So you can stay in a lunge with the knee on the earth if that's where you need to be today, or perhaps you curl your back toes under, lift the back leg. We're going to reach the arms up towards the sky, shoulders roll back and down the spine. Rolling the right hip back, left hip forward so your hips are square towards the front of the room. Check your front knee over the ankle, in line with the second or third toe. And then let's do this. We'll find cactus arms. If you wish, slight tuck of your tailbone, opening the heart up towards the sky. So imagine that string pulling your heart up. If it feels like too much on the low back, just staying with cactus arms. Ooh. Inhale, upper body comes back to center. Exhale, we're going to turn towards the right side. So legs stay where they are. All right. Maybe arms come out wide here, or long, wide, you know what I mean. Or maybe hands come to heart center, left elbow to the outside of the right thigh. Push into the thigh to help you turn. So squeeze your inner thighs. That helps you lift. All right, inhale, arms come back to center into that lunge. Exhale, hands to the earth. Let's come into our tabletop pose. And then over to the other side, left foot comes forward. Again, knee can stay down or come up. Squeeze your inner thighs as you rise. Shoulders roll back and down, squaring the hips towards the front of the mat. Finding cactus arms. Perhaps slight tuck of the tailbone, open the heart. Inhale, come back to center, and exhale, turning towards the left side. Finding your variation of a twist here. Maybe arms are out long, or perhaps right elbow comes to the outside of the left thigh. Hands come together in prayer. Push into the left thigh to help you turn. Inhale, come back to center. Exhale, hands come down towards the earth. Let's all make our way into a forward fold at the top of the mat. So as much of a bend in your knees as you need so there's no discomfort in your low back or the backs of your thighs. Maybe your upper body dangles. I don't know about all you, but I'm already sweating. If it's comfortable for you, perhaps grabbing a hold of opposite elbows. Release any tension you feel in your neck. All right, releasing your hands down towards the earth. And let's come into halfway lift. Hands come to shins or thighs. So drawing the navel in, crown of the head reaches forward. Find equal weight in the four corners of your feet. So big toe mound, baby toe mound, inner heel, outer heel. I know personally I have a tendency to sink back in my heels. And exhale, forward fold. Arms come out to the side, reverse swan dive up into extended mountain. And exhale, hands to heart center. All right. We're going to find a standing wind relief pose into what is called sometimes a flamingo, if you wish to come into the flamingo. So if balance is a little bit difficult for you today or at any point, feel free to find a wall nearby. Every day's a little different, right? Today I need a wall. All right, so our standing wind relief pose. We're going to stand in our mountain, feet are hip distance apart. Squeeze the inner thighs towards center. Notice how you find a little bit of a tuck in the tailbone when you do that, and thighs are activated. Crown of the head reaches high, shoulders roll back and down your spine. Let's shift the weight over to the left side, picking the right foot up off the earth. So we're going to hug this right knee in. If you're not able to grab a hold of the shin or around the knee, feel free to grab underneath the thigh instead. So hug the right knee in. So to begin, we're going to be nice and tall here. Tall in the spine. Find your balance. Find a place to focus on that isn't moving. All right, so maybe you stay here or perhaps you find a flamingo pose. Let's see if I can do this without falling. So you're going to shift your weight forward, keep holding onto the right knee. Send the left or right foot back, slight micro bend in that left knee. Round your spine. See if you can bring your chin close to your knee. Maybe you have to look down at the earth instead of bringing the chin close to the knee. All right, can you slowly come back up without placing the right foot on the earth? And then release. Let's shake the legs out. So I don't even know if that's called flamingo in adult yoga, but I know that's what it's called in kids yoga. All right, find your mountain. Inner thighs squeeze together. Crown of the head reaches tall. Find your place to focus on in front of you. And shifting your weight into your right foot. Left foot comes up off the earth. So maybe you stay here, hands come underneath the thigh, so more of a stork pose here. Or perhaps you grab a hold of the knee, hug the knee in towards your chest, keeping the left foot active. So standing wind relief pose. Perhaps you stay here, or maybe you start to shift your weight forward, shift your head forward, foot comes back, round your spine. Maybe chin or nose come towards the knee. All right, so connecting to your inner core, to your inner self, not judging yourself. All right, come back up to center, standing up nice and tall, and then releasing the foot. Shake out your legs. All right, finding your way towards the front of the mat. So if you use blocks, bringing the blocks nearby, we're going to come into a revolved triangle. Okay, so let's start here. Inhale, reaching up towards the sky, extended mountain. Exhale, flat back, swan diving down, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, hands to shins or thighs. And exhale, fold. All right, we're going to take a step back here with the right foot, coming into warrior one. So we want wide stance here. Left foot to the left side, right foot to the right. All right, squeeze the inner thighs together as you rise. Front knee is over the ankle. Squaring your hips towards the front of the room. All right, so revolve triangle. Let's straighten the front leg. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to bring the left hand to the left hip. We're going to start by
hinging forward from the hips, keeping a nice straight line in your spine. Okay, and then perhaps bringing that right hand down towards either your left leg, a block, or the earth, rotating the chest towards the left side, roll the left hip back. Maybe you stay here. Maybe the left hand comes up towards the sky. So if this feels like it's too much in your hip, back of the left thigh, perhaps you step the right foot in a little bit, like a foot or so, and find that turn. If this is uncomfortable for the low back, perhaps bringing both hands down towards the earth or on your front shin and finding more of a pyramid pose here. All right, we're going to hold here for a few rounds of breath. Notice what comes up in your mind, any thoughts, any judgments. Remember, you are not these thoughts, these judgments. Who are you underneath all of that? One more round of breath. Bringing the left hand towards the earth or towards your hip. Bend into the front knee. Let's come back up into our warrior one pose. All right, exhale, windmilling the hands towards the earth. Let's come back into a downward dog. You may have to walk your feet back a little bit. Shoulders roll back and down your spine, gripping your fingers into the earth. Slight micro bend in your elbows. Perhaps you take a deep bend in your knees and then really send your hips back. All right, allowing your feet to come up towards the front of your mat or any way you need to come into forward fold. And on your next inhale, arms out towards the sides, reverse swan dive up. And exhale, hands to heart center. All right, other side. Inhale, extended mountain. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhale to fold. Left foot steps back, warrior one on this side. So squeeze in the inner thighs as you rise. Straightening the front leg, slight micro bend in the knee. Right hand comes to your right hip. Find length in your spine and then hinge forward from the hips. Reach the arm long. Maybe find a round of breath here. And then send that left hand down as you fold down to either your left thigh, a block, or the earth. Roll the right hip back, left hip forward. Squeeze the inner thighs towards center. Rotate your rib cage to the right. And perhaps the right hand comes up towards the sky. Don't bring the left hand up towards the sky. That would not end well. Revolve triangle. Continue to squeeze the inner thighs. Remember to adjust your stance if you need to. So your head, you can look anywhere that feels comfortable. If you have any neck issues, sometimes looking down is better than looking out to the side or up towards the sky. Keep rotating the rib cage open towards the right. Roll the right hip back. And on your next exhale, right hand comes down towards the earth. Let's come back into downward dog. All right, shifting your weight forward, coming into tabletop, and then back into child's pose. If it's comfortable for you, keeping the knees together, and then perhaps sending the hands back by your feet, palms face up towards the sky. Allow the shoulders to roll towards the earth. Find your breath. And perhaps taking a moment to consider your values. What are your values? And that is part of your core self. When things get difficult in life, what are those values that you still stand by? All right, one more round of breath. And then slowly making your way into your tabletop pose. How are we doing for time? Okay. All right, one more pose here that we're going to come into eventually. So sorry, coming into downward dog. Great, let's do this. We're going to send the right foot up towards the sky, three-legged dog. Shifting your weight forward, round your spine, knee comes towards your chest, and then stepping the right foot through. Maybe use your hands to help you come through. We're going to try and come up to standing, but we're not going to let the left foot hit the earth. So shifting your weight into your right foot, left foot comes up off the earth, leg is long behind you. Round your spine, knee comes toward your chest, and then slowly start to stand up on the right leg, sending the left knee forward. So stork pose, this looks familiar. All right, dancer. We're going to keep the left foot active here, send the knee down towards the earth. Left hand comes back towards the inner arch of the foot. Find a place to hold on to if you need to. All right, so shoulders roll back and down your spine. We're going to keep sending that knee down towards the earth. Okay, right arm reaches up towards the sky. Perhaps you stay here, or perhaps you send the knee back. Send it back, send it back. Maybe you tip forward slightly. Maybe like in our tiger pose, you push that foot up towards the sky. Slight micro bend in the right knee. All right, wonderful. Come back to standing on that right foot. Knee comes down towards the earth. And we'll just come to standing. I was going to send us back in a more complicated way, but come to standing in front of your mat, mountain pose. On your inhale, extended mountain. Exhale, forward fold. Let's find a few rounds of breath here. Release any tension you feel in your neck, in your low back. All right, deep bend in your knees. Let's send both feet back. Come into downward dog. This time, left foot reaches up towards the sky. Shift your weight forward, round your spine, knee toward your chest. And then send the left foot through. Shifting your weight into your left foot. Right foot comes up off the earth. Bending the right knee, rounding the spine, bring the knee in towards the chest, and then coming up to standing on the left foot. Knees out in front, stork pose. Right foot is active. Send the right knee down towards the earth and grabbing a hold of the inner arch of the right foot. So maybe this is it for you. Or maybe you go a little further. Send the knee back. Watch your low back. If it's uncomfortable, maybe keep the knee pointing down towards the earth. Maybe the left arm reaches up towards the sky. Perhaps you start to shift your weight forward slightly. And then send that right foot up towards the sky. Right foot still active, knee still points down. Slight micro bend in the left knee. One more round of breath. And then come back, knee points down towards the earth, standing tall. Release the foot here, shake it out. All right, finding your mountain pose near the top of your mat. On your inhale, reaching up towards the sky, extended mountain. And on your exhale, flat back swan, diving down, forward fold. So this forward fold, perhaps you find a variation. So whatever feels good, arms can dangle, grab a hold of opposite elbows. Some people can come into kind of like a gorilla pose where they tuck their hands underneath their feet, toes come up to the crease of the wrist. So a slight bend in your knees. Maybe instead you bring your hands back toward your calves to gently pull you in. Or maybe there's another variation that feels good. One more round of breath. All right, let's come into a halfway lift. Hands come to shins or thighs. All right, we're going to come to the floor, but kind of in a different way. First, let's come to chair pose. Hips come back, slight tuck at the tailbone, arms reach up towards the sky. All right, you can come down with me or you can find another way down to seated. So we're going to slowly send the hips back, slowly come down as far as you can, and then hips to the floor. Okay, so let's bring the knees out in front, feet in front, knees are bent. We're going to bring the arms out towards the side, round your spine, hug your knees, tuck your chin in towards your chest. One more round of breath. And then making your way down towards the earth any way you wish. Maybe you hug the knees in and slowly roll down. All right, let's find a twist here to finish. So maybe you follow me or perhaps you find a twist that's a little bit more comfortable for you. Let's cross the right knee over the left. Arms come out to the side, palms face up towards the sky, allowing your legs to drop over towards the right side, keeping both shoulders on the earth. And perhaps you look over towards the left. Find your breath. See if you can take deep inhales in through your nose, into your diaphragm, and long, slow exhales out. noticing what's going on in your body. Again, check in with your gut, your chest, your back. Notice your jaw, behind your ears. I mean behind your eyes, although you could check behind your ears if you wanted to. Notice what's there, any sensations, maybe some feelings coming up in your body somewhere, the emotions. All right, slowly allowing your legs to come back to center and changing the cross of your legs. Allowing your legs to drop over towards the left side and maybe looking over towards the right. So noticing those emotions that may be stored in the body, and then remembering that your reactions, your emotions do not reflect who you are underneath at your core. We want to honor our emotions and not push them away, but also not to define ourselves by these emotions. Those emotions change day to day, sometimes hour to hour, depending on what's going on in our environment or where our thoughts are taking us. Who are you underneath all of that? Finding one more round of breath. And then slowly allowing your legs to come back to center, uncrossing your legs. Maybe you take one more hug here with your knees, rocking from side to side or making circles. And then whenever you feel ready, coming into Shavasana or any final resting pose that feels comfortable for you lying on the earth. Taking deep inhales in through your nose, into your diaphragm, and long, slow exhales out. On your exhales, releasing your practice, releasing your day, and letting go of anything that you don't need. And whenever you're ready, bringing some small movements into your fingers and toes. Maybe those small movements become bigger movements. In your own time, rolling over to one side, whichever side is calling for you. And then gently making your way up to seated, and once you get there, lowering or closing your eyes. Taking deep inhales, long, slow exhales. On your inhales, I invite you to inhale self-compassion, remembering the two most important things you did during our time here together were show up and breathe. Everything else was practice and exploration. May you go in peace, love, kindness, and gratitude. Thank you for joining me. Have a beautiful evening.